What is going on, everyone? Welcome to Talk Junkies, where I'm going to go in today talking a little bit of the Chiefs and Raiders, just really see what's going on this Sunday at 3 o'clock when the Chiefs play the Raiders. The Raiders are 2-9. The Chiefs are 9-2. I really don't think that this is a trap game, but let's just dive into it. Enjoy the video. Just kidding, the audio. So the Raiders offense, they score 17 points per game, which is 30th in the league. 338 yards per game, which is 24th in the league. Their third down conversion percentage is at 35%, which is 26th in the league. They have 99.4 yards rushing a game, which is 25th in the league. And their passing yards is 238 passing yards per game, which is 18th in the league. The Chiefs, they score 36.7 points per game, which is number one. 434 yards per game, which is third in the league. Their down percentage is at 47.41%, which is fourth in the league. 115 rushing yards a game, which is 14th in the league, and 318.5 passing yards per game, which is third in the league. So when it comes to offense, statistically, the Chiefs, not even statistically, but just anyone in the right mind, can understand that the Chiefs' high-powered offense is in maybe 30 to 40 times better than the Oakland Raiders' offense. The Raiders do have two decent running backs. Marshawn Lynch is a little older. Doug Martin had one or two good seasons and hasn't really done anything much since then. But that's really their only threats when it comes to offense. They have a decent tight end in Jared Cook, 47 receptions, 609 yards, and 5 touchdowns. So if we can single him out, I don't think on the wide receiver side that the Raiders really have an advantage on offense. But that's really just where it is on offense. The Raiders, for some reason, Derek Carr, he's just not been the Derek Carr that we saw 2 years ago when he had his breakout season. So they don't score a lot of points, the Raiders. I think the Chiefs they'll probably give up over 300 passing yard or 300 yards total. But with how bad that the Raiders are, it would not shock me if the Chiefs have a really good defensive game on Sunday. Their third down conversion percentage, the Raiders, that statistic's only going to get worse because our third down defense is actually really, really good and decent. And I think we'll be able to stop the run. I think really that's their only chance is to get time of possession, which I think they're 16th in the league in time of possession. That's really their only option when it comes to slowing down the Chiefs. But even then, the Chiefs are still going to put up 30 points against the Raiders because they just don't have enough players to stop who we are offensively as a team. So that's the Raiders offense. When it comes to the Kansas City Chiefs offense, we all have come to know and love just one of the best offenses to ever watch as a Chiefs fan. Patty Mahomes doing his thing, 37 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, right around, he's at 3,628 yards passing. I think that this game he could have at 5 touchdowns. If I'm Andy Reid, and I've talked to a few of my friends about this, if I'm Andy Reid, I'm going for the records. I mean, he's this close. He has to average 3.4 touchdowns a game to tie Peyton Manning's record at 55 touchdowns. But I think he easily could have 10 touchdowns against the Raiders, even though we played them the last game of the year. Hopefully we don't have to start Patrick Mahomes, but, I mean, in order for him to break the record, he is going to have to play that last game. But we need to win out. That way we get the 1 seed. Either way, Patrick Mahomes is dealing, baby. He's doing his thing, and he's going to have a really good game against the Raiders. He's going to have over 300 yards passing. He's going to have, 3-4 touchdowns. And the only way he doesn't have 3 or 4 touchdowns is if Andy Reid just wants to get the ball real close, and control the clock and then run the ball with Kareem Hunt or Spencer Ware or Anthony Sherman. That's the only way that Patrick doesn't have 3 to 4 touchdowns. And if he doesn't throw 4 touchdowns against this awful defense of the Raiders, then there's something wrong, and Andy Reid's not calling the plays the correct way. But, the Chiefs just pass the ball. Just do what you've been doing best all year and don't stop, right? Just keep doing what you're doing. You have Kareem Hunt with 824 yards on the year rushing, 7 touchdowns. He's averaging 4.6 yards a carry. Travis Kelce, 67 receptions, 914 yards, 7 touchdowns. Sammy Watkins, 40 receptions, 519 yards, 3 touchdowns. And then my boy Tyreek at 65 receptions, 1,106 yards receiving, and 11 touchdowns, which last week before the Steelers played, and I don't know if Antonio Brown had a touchdown, but he was tied for first with touchdown receptions by a wide receiver this year. So that's a lot of firepower coming your way, Oakland. I hope you're ready for it, and I don't really know if you are. So any Raiders fans who listen to this podcast, I'm extremely sorry to tell you that you guys are going to get lit up. There's no other way around it. It's not going to be the same situation like last night where no one had any confidence that the Cowboys could beat the Saints. That's just not going to be the case. You guys have absolutely no chance against the Chiefs. They'll cover their spread, just plain and simple. When it comes to defense, the Raiders are giving up 29.7 points per game, which is 30th in the league. They give up 390 yards per game, which is 26th in the league. Their third down percentage that their defense is at 45%, which is 30th in the league. And the only hope that the Raiders really have is their red zone defense, which is at 53.6% of the time. When the offense gets in the 20-yard line, they're 10th in the league when it comes to red zone defense. So if there's a glaring, and I wouldn't necessarily even call it a glaring statistic, is if the Raiders have any chance whatsoever, it would be to control the clock and then try and hold the Chiefs when they get into the end zone and then hold them and do what they do well, which is red zone defense. Now, I'm not entirely sure how many trips that the opponents have had in the red zone, and maybe that's why that stat could be a little skewed, but they are 10th in the league when it comes to red zone defense. So that's really their only hope and option is to let the Chiefs get in there and not have any big plays, 50, 60-yard touchdowns, and just really try and hold the Chiefs down in the red zone. When it comes to the Chiefs defense, 26.7 points per game, 28th in the league. We give up a staggering 414.7 yards a game, 30th in the league. Our third down defense, which this is where our bread and butter is at 36.3% of the time. Our defense can stop them. I know I said that wrong, but we're 6th in defense when it comes to third down percentage. And our red zone defense, 69.23% of the time teams score on us when they're in the red zone, which is a very bad statistic, especially going into the playoffs this late in the season. We're 28th in the league when it comes to red zone defense. Now, Eric Berry did practice this week. I did watch a video of him practicing. He was just kind of jogging and not really doing much. So we'll see how that plays out. But getting him on the field maybe this week isn't necessary. I say give him another week, let him relax, get ready for the Ravens game next week, and we'll see how it goes. So defensively, the Chiefs, they're going to get a lot of pressure. D Ford with 9 sacks, 5 forced fumbles, doing his thing. He's going to be a force to be reckoned with in this game. Justin Houston could have a really good game as well, and I think Chris Jones on the inside is going to have a really good game as well. I'm not entirely sure how good the offensive line is for the Oakland Raiders, but I think that they're not going to be able to withstand our front seven. That's really where the Chiefs have played really well this year is on the front side of the ball. Alan Bailey's starting to play a little bit better, and getting Justin Houston back and being healthy. I don't think he's been healthy the past 2 weeks, but yet he still has made some decent plays. Nelson might have a good game. I think the secondary will have a better game. Granted, the Raiders are really not going to have any other option except to pass the ball, so our secondary needs to be ready for that, and they need to be ready to just for that type and style of game this week. Now, when it comes to Marshawn Lynch, he's at 376 yards this year. Doug Martin's at 384. They're both averaging 4 yards a carry, so they could run the ball against the Chiefs, and I think they could be pretty successful. But with the way that our front seven's been playing a little bit better against the run, and normally teams abandon the run except the Browns, to my knowledge, and the Cardinals, they didn't really abandon the run. Those are the teams that are going to have a little more success against the Chiefs. If they don't abandon the run, they stick to the run. Granted, last week whenever we played the Rams, Todd Gurley didn't have over 100 yards rushing, and that just wasn't that style of game. That game really wasn't going to be about Kareem Hunt or Todd Gurley. It was just more about slinging the rock, and that's exactly what happened with Goff and Patty. Derek Carr, 2,827 yards this year, 13 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. So just kind of a subpar season for Derek Carr, and that could be due to John Gruden's first year. He's got 9 more years, ladies and gentlemen, so get ready to see Chucky Boy all the time. And then you have Jalen Richards. He leads the team with 53 receptions, 447 yards receiving. Jared Cook, like I said, 47 receptions, 609 yards, 5 touchdowns. That's their number one threat when it comes to throwing the ball. You have Seth Roberts, 27 receptions, 319 yards, 2 touchdowns. And that's really it when it comes to their wide receivers. I mean, it's just not much going on. They traded Amari Cooper. They got that first-round pick from Dallas next year. And we'll see. It's going to be a high pick. Dallas is 7-5. We'll see how the rest of the season plays out and how that number one pick from the Dallas Cowboys will play out with the Raiders. Defensively, they have Conley, Reggie Nelson and Marcus Gilchrist each have 2 interceptions. So they have 9 total interceptions on the year, the Raiders do. So, I mean, they do have some ball hawks, some eye hawks in the secondary. They are able to read the quarterback's eyes, and that's one thing Patty's going to have to be careful for. He's been really, really good all year. 10 interceptions, I'll take that. I thought it was going to be a little more than that. I know there's 5 games left to be played, but I think that Patrick needs to be smart and not have any just stupid turnovers this week, and he'll be fine. Maurice Huss Jr. has 4 sacks. He leads the team with 4 sacks. So it doesn't really look like the Oakland Raiders are getting that much pressure to the quarterback. And if you give Patrick Mahomes a lot of time, we all know what he's going to do to your defense. So that being said, they have their number 1 sack leader has 4, okay? And that's just not a recipe for success for the Raiders to try and hold down the best quarterback in football right now. It's going to be a great game. The Chiefs are going to be looking really good this week. Honestly, I think that Patrick could throw 5 touchdowns. I'm not really sure if he will or not, but I hope he does. I was wrong in my prediction against the Rams game. What a game that was, and everyone knows that game. It was one of the best games ever, if not the best game on Monday Night Football ever. But this game, man, I could easily see the Chiefs scoring 40 points, but every time we play teams like this, Andy Reid plays down to them, and he doesn't showboat. And he doesn't score an insane amount of points like Sean Payton did. I think it was 2 weeks ago. I forget who they played, but it was like a 4th and 7. They were up 35-7, and they went for it and threw a 40-yard touchdown pass. That's who Sean Payton is. That's not who Andy Reid is. He plays down. He's going to play down to the Raiders. He's not going to showboat. If anything, if the defense has a few touchdowns or a pick six and that adds to the score, that's the only way the Chiefs hit 40 points. I think we end up at like maybe 37, 38 points. The Raiders 10 to 14 points, right around in that range. So I'm going to go Chiefs 38, Raiders 13. 38-13 Chiefs this week is my prediction. Could be wrong, but I mean, that's just what I see based on paper and what paper tells you. But if paper tells you anything, Dallas was supposed to lose last night, and they didn't. They played an amazing defensive game against arguably the best offense in football, and now Patrick Mahomes is in the driver's seat. This is his week to take over the MVP talk. He has to do it. He goes out and throws 5 touchdowns. He is now the talk of MVP once again, and Skip Bayless can zip his mouth and be quiet because we all know who the number 1 quarterback is this year and who the MVP is this year. I mean, at this time last year, what was it? The Chiefs were 6-4 before we played the Rams. Patrick Mahomes was 6-5 or whatever it was, 7-4. Patrick Mahomes is 9-2. So I mean, already right there, you see the improvement of having him as quarterback. Either way, regardless, Chiefs have a good game. Chiefs beat the Raiders. To all my Chiefs Kingdom fans out there, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you like my content. Comment down below. Let me know what you want me to talk about, how I could talk about it better. Any Raiders fans, I'm sorry to tell you that this just isn't your year. You already know you're sinking. You're going to go for that number 1 pick. We'll see how it goes. But thank you guys, and we'll talk to you, and we'll see you later and see the results of the game this Sunday. Have a good one. Later.